Well, hello friends, welcome back to the channel, Early on Time Watch Reviews. I'm Chris and I unbox and review budget watches. And today I am rocking what I believe should have been the winner of the under 200 challenge that my buddy, the Bald Watch Collector, put on. That glorious bastard James beat me out with a Seiko GMT watch. I'm okay with it. I'm over it. But this is gorgeous. This is the Aragon Dive Master Swiss automatic movement, fully specced out thing. This is, I mean, okay, it should have won, but it's okay. I'm okay. I'll handle it. At any rate, today we are taking a look at a Navitimer Homage that I looked at and had to get in. I thought it looked great. And it is a Berny from Aliexpress, and it looked to be what was potentially the best Navitimer Homage on Aliexpress. Is it? Well, let's take a look at it and let's find out. Alright guys, so let's go over the basic specifications for this one. This is Berny model number 2845M. The price right now is just over $80 US. In fact, let me just take you over to the website here now, and we'll just have a quick look at the various options you can get it in. There's orange, there's this red outer rim, and kind of a gold-centered. Of course, you have a bit of a blue, and then a bit of a teal, and this one, which is the one that I am showing you today, which is the one that I chose. So, model number 2845M, price as you saw just over $80, around $82 right now. You do have a case thickness of 13 millimeters. The case size, I measured two different ways, underneath from the actual case between the pusher here and across, which was 41.5 millimeters. When you factor in the nice top hat kind of bezel that this one has on there, it's 43 millimeters with the bezel measurement. Your lug to lug is 50.5, so just over 50, and your lug width is 20 millimeters at the lugs, and this bracelet does taper down to 18 millimeters. Back up to 20 millimeters at the clasp. Stainless steel construction. This is not surgical grade stainless steel. We'll talk about that in just a moment. You do have a combination of brushed and polished surfaces. So you do have some polishing on the side of the case, as you can see. Brushed outer links of the bracelet, and the center links, or the next ones in, I should say, they're not quite centered, are polished, and then the center links are brushed again. Brushing is done to a decent standard for the price point. You do have a friction or a tension bezel, and so it doesn't have any dual deployment pushers. As you can see, it's a milled clasp, and it does have plenty of micro adjusts. They are at least the width of a link so that you can get a good fit to your wrist. And it has a screwed down case back and a push-pull crown. The screwed down case back, push-pull crown. This only has 3 atmospheres of water resistance. So again, I'll be talking about that in a moment. You do have a sapphire crystal covering this dial, and it does appear to have a little bit of AR coating applied to it, which is good. And it is slightly domed, and it is, it's a sapphire crystal, so that is good. The movement that they are utilizing is the Seiko VK63 movement, and if you watch my last video, you know where I will be going with this. It is a great movement, but, and more on that in a moment. So as a VK63, you've got the 3 subdials, the 24-hour subdial at the 3 o'clock. You are running 60 seconds for the watch at the 6 o'clock and the 60-minute chronograph timer at the 9 o'clock. You activate the chronograph by pushing the top button here. Nice engagement with the pusher, and that of course will send the chronograph seconds hand for the watch sweeping the dial at 4 ticks per second. And so that's the basic specs, guys. What I thought I'd do for this review is something I haven't done in a bit, which is the up close and personal of this watch, just to give you a good idea of what you are getting for that $82. And so enjoy the up close and personal right now. Okay, so let's talk about the Lume on this one. I didn't have high expectations for the Lume with this watch. I will throw up the Merly spectrometer, which will give you an idea of how I grade the Lume on this watch for how long it lasts during the time-lapse video. Great Lume lasts between 20 and 25 minutes. Bloody fantastic Lume lasts 25 minutes and up. And so let's take a look at the Lume shot now. Alright guys, so you can see from the time lapse, the Lume on this isn't just good, isn't just great, it is bloody fantastic. This really surprised me, but you saw on the time lapse the minute markers and the hour and the minute hand lasting all the way through to the 30-minute mark. Very impressive. And here is what it looks like on my 7.5-inch wrist. This is a fantastic looking Navitimer Homage. It really is. Yeah, looks great on the wrist. Okay, that takes us to my likes and my gripes. And so I want to talk about what I like about this watch. So no points for originality, but I love the look of this watch. The Breitling Navitimer is my grail watch. I absolutely love it. I love the eye candy it provides, the beautiful looking dial, especially the panda style dial with the black, in this case silver subdials. The original Navitimer, of course, has white subdials, which just make everything pop. And it's just such a cool watch with the slide rule bezel. And so, yeah, I love the look of this watch for sure. The slide rule bezel on this one is absolutely fantastic. It is a friction bezel. It is bi-directional, and all of the markers on the slide rule actually line up fairly well, almost bang on, maybe a little bit of a hair off, but really nothing to complain about. And I don't know if you can tell, but just as in the original, the crystal is turning, I believe, with this slide rule. And so, that's kind of cool as well. Of course, I love the fact that it's got a sapphire crystal on it, and it's slightly domed, and it looks great on this piece. And the Lume. The Lume, honestly, is the star of the show on this watch, I think. I just was not expecting the Lume to be as good as it was, honestly. I think it is the best part of this watch. And lastly, I do like the price. I think that the price of just over or around $80 US is a good price point for this watch. If you are really wanting the Navitimer look with a good movement for a decent price, this watch definitely fits the bill. So we're going to turn the camera around now, and I want to discuss the things about this watch that I think need to be improved. My gripes about the watch, there are quite a few. So yeah, let's turn the camera around and let's talk about that. Okay, for my gripes on this watch, there is a few. Some of them are just basic observations or personal preferences that I would like to see, some of which are things that I wasn't happy with. And first of all, I want to talk about the fact that this is not 316L surgical grade stainless steel. I got this watch with a scratch on it. Actually, there was a couple of scratches on it, and I found it very easy to scratch. Just putting this on the board that I use for filming the review, put a few little scratches on the clasp, which really hasn't happened with any other watch. And so this is definitely not surgical grade stainless steel. Seems to be a little easier than other watches I've had to scratch. And the QC, quality control, unfortunately, I received this with a bit of a nasty scratch on the lug on the 9 o'clock side at the top there. I'll show you an image of it there. And so, yeah, just, obviously not quite happy with getting the watch in with that issue in it. The size, let's talk the size of the watch. 41 millimeter case size isn't too bad. The dial would be about 40 millimeter, 41 millimeter. And I just have a preference with the slide rule bezel for that case size to be a little bit larger. I would have loved to see it at 44 or 45 millimeters, and that would have utilized the slide rule bezel to be much more legible and usable. As it is with my aging eyes, even though I have glasses, if you wanted to use the slide rule bezel for any reason, it would be a little bit trickier to read, especially while it was on the wrist because of the smaller size of the case and dial. Push-pull crown, really not happy with the push-pull crown, and the engagement of this crown is a little bit harder to work with, and that's because the bezel kind of overhangs and is very close to the top of that crown, and you got to get underneath the case in order to get the crown out. And because it is a push-pull crown, the water resistance on this watch really sucks. 3 atmospheres of water resistance. At this price point, there was no reason why it couldn't be 100 meters of water resistance. Pagani Design, for example, I had a newer chronograph of theirs, 100 meters of water resistance, same Seiko VK63 movement, and so the fact that this only has 3 atmospheres is hugely disappointing. They really need to make that improvement for the next one for sure. It's got to be 100 meters. At this price point, there's no reason why it shouldn't be. Okay, the friction or tension clasp. I prefer a dual button deployant clasp with the fold over lock and not the tension. Not really a deal breaker by any means, but I just prefer the dual pushers on mine. Let's talk about Berny on the dial. Honestly, this isn't something that I am overly fussy about at this point. I mean, I've kind of gotten used to the name Berny, but the logo that they have at the 12 o'clock, the B logo, I think it would have been better for them to make that just a little bit bigger and have that as the only thing for branding on the dial and take the Berny name off of the dial. And I know many of you may not even consider this because of the Berny name on the dial. And certainly they could have offered a sterile version of the Berny name and just left the logo on. And so that would have been my preference as well. The silver subdials on the watch, I agree with my buddy Andre in the unboxing video that would have been awesome to see the monochromatic design, the black and the white. The Panda dial would really have caused those subdials to pop even more if they were white rather than silver in color. And so I would have preferred to see white subdials on this particular piece. And last, but certainly not least, the Seiko VK63 movement. If you watched my last review on the Ver RS1 chronograph, I discussed this as well. The 24-hour subdial on these watches is just something that I am just getting over. I really don't like it anymore. And so I would have liked to have seen a movement utilized that had a 1/10 chronograph subdial rather than the 24-hour subdial. And so while the Seiko VK63 movement is a great movement, just the way that that movement utilizes a 24-hour subdial, I think it's time to change things up a little bit and choose a movement that has chronograph subdials rather than the 24-hour subdial on it. So that's my honest take on the Berny. I don't know if it's the best Navitimer homage on Aliexpress. It's certainly a fairly decent one, especially for the price point. Some of those things that I mentioned as my preferences certainly wouldn't have deterred me from getting this watch in the first place, although I did get this as a part of being on the Aliexpress influencer program. But there were quite a few things that I wish were better on it, but the price kind of makes all of those wash out a little bit. I don't know what you think about that. I would love to hear your comments in the video. Just comment below and let me know if you know of a better Navitimer homage on AliExpress than this one. I did see one that was absolutely fantastic, but it came from a shady store who lied and misrepresented what was being sent. It didn't have the Breitling Navitimer name on the dial in the images, but when I received the watch, it turned out to have Breitling Navitimer on the watch, which made it a fake over a homage or a clomage. So at any rate, if you know of a better Navitimer homage than this one, please let me know in the comments below, and maybe I will get that in a future video. So thanks so much, guys, for tuning in. Thanks for watching to the end, and remember, whenever you leave your house, you have to have a great looking piece to wear on your wrist. And if you like Navitimers, this is a great looking piece to wear. And remember, wherever you're going, you need to get there on time. God bless, guys. See you in the next one.